So Jussie is currently in the psych ward at Cook County Jail. What's very concerning is that there was a note attached to his paperwork today and put on the front of his jail cell saying that he's at risk of self-harm. I want to just make it clear to folks that he is in no way, shape, or form at risk of self-harm. And he wants to let folks know that he is very stable, he is very strong, he is very healthy and ready to take on the challenge that ultimately has been put up against him.
That was Jussie Smollett's brother making a statement from the former Empire actor's Instagram account. To that, the actor is in a psych ward at the Cook County Jail in Chicago. Now, Friday, after Smollett was sentenced to spend 150 days of his 30-month felony probation in jail, after, of course, he was found guilty of lying to police back in 2019 after that alleged racist and homophobic attack, Smollett had two outbursts in the courtroom where he made very clear to everyone listening that if anybody happened to him in jail, he wanted them to know that he did not commit suicide. Take a listen.
No, I would just like to say to Your Honor that I am not suicidal. That's what I would like to say.
Okay.
I am not suicidal.
Okay.
I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this, and I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself, and you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor. I respect your decision. Jail time. I am not suicidal.
Okay.
I am not suicidal.
Stop laughing at our facts.
I am not suicidal, and I am innocent. I could have said that I was guilty a long time ago.
Oh, quite a performance there that we remember. Well, on Friday, Court TV got this statement from the Cook County Jail where Smollett is being housed, saying, quote, Mr. Smollett is not being held in solitary confinement. The use of solitary confinement was abolished at the Cook County Jail in 2016, and any claims that he is being held in this manner are false. Mr. Smollett is being housed in his own cell, which is monitored by security cameras in the cell and by an officer wearing a body-worn camera who's stationed at the entrance of the cell to ensure that Mr. Smollett is under direct supervision at all times. So it's unclear based on that statement from Friday and the one from Smollett's brother that came out today where exactly the actor is being held at this time. Not sure if he's in a psych ward, but we want to dive more into the psychology behind this, what he's saying, if it's in fact true, with our guest on the program today. He is a forensic psychologist based in San Antonio, Texas. Dr. John Delatorre is with us. Hi, Dr. John, good to see you. My first question for you, please, is we know everybody heard Jussie Smollett saying, I'm not suicidal, but could he be?
I mean, it's certainly that he is, but I don't think so. I think that there are other things that are going on with him that are more problematic than this, and it definitely seemed more theatrical than anything.
I thought the same, and I'm certainly not a psychologist, but I thought he was going for an Academy Award with that performance in the courtroom. He has great lawyers who I'm sure advised him to be quiet, be respectful, and he just, you know, couldn't help himself, had to speak out very loudly, very theatrically, as you said. Does it indicate to you anything else that kind of comes to mind as a forensic psychologist of what may be going on with him from a mental health standpoint?
I mean, it possibly could be some symptoms of a narcissistic personality disorder, but he's very confusing. There's a lot of theatricality based on what he's doing, but that's not necessarily the only thing that's going on. Narcissism is a large component of being an actor, so it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing, but it could be corrupted in some ways where he wants the spotlight on him at all times.
Yeah, Dr. John, I wondered if you were going to say you see any narcissistic traits with him, because I know His Honor, when he was delivering the sentence, called him narcissistic, the behavior, and certainly not an expert, but as a layperson who's seen it in courtrooms, having served as a prosecutor, that was something that I wondered if there was anything that jumped out at you, and clearly it has. Let's play another clip from Jussie Smollett's brother, and in this clip, he's really more addressing the Cook County Jail.
We want to make sure that folks understand that, you know, whatever inside Cook County Jail what assumptions they may be making. I don't know why they even have him in a psych ward. We still have not gotten clear answers there and why he's even in a psych ward. And they've recently added to his documentation that he's at risk of harming himself. That is absolutely not true.
So a really good question is, why would they put him in a psych ward if what his brother is saying is in fact true? Now, I do know that mental health evaluations are standard as part of criminal cases. You know that, Dr. John, I can see you nodding. So tell me, after one happens, what goes on them then in terms of recommendation and then placement in perhaps a psych ward where there's more careful monitoring?
Well, it depends on what is actually determined. So if they do think that he's a suicide risk, then they'll just place him in a 24-hour observation. So needing therapy or needing medications or anything like that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be sequestered in his own place. He's most likely put in his own cell because he's a celebrity and he's high risk for things. So that's probably why he's in a so-called isolation or solitary confinement or something like that. It's just because they want to keep him safe. But a psych ward on a unit, it's more like that they're on mental health treatment than they are in a psych ward.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, in the jail saying he's not in solitary. We saw that performance as he went out. I'm curious how he acted as he was going through processing, because that is not a pleasant process. Going through processing, going into a jail. Ask anybody who's ever done it or understands the procedure. Things can be very invasive. It's a very humbling experience. And is it possible, Dr. John, that maybe he started acting up once he got in there? Is it possible for someone who's an actor to kind of feign, that there are mental health difficulties to try to get the attention of mental health professionals?
Oh, it's absolutely possible. You know, that's part of their job. You know, some of the movies, TV shows, all to try to depict mental disorders and things like that. But here's the catch. Any individual that is truly experiencing severe mental illness has a level of energy not seen by someone who is not experiencing those kinds of things. So someone like a Jussie Smollett or any other kind of actor will never be able to demonstrate the true emotional experience that someone who is truly suffering from it would be.
Okay. You mentioned narcissism earlier as a possibility for him, and I was saying how the judge said just that in open court. We've got that clip for anybody who might have missed it the first time. Let's take a look back at that now.
There's some conjecture you did it for the money. Frankly, I do not believe that you did it for the money. You were making, the evidence showed, close to $2 million a year when this happened. I don't think money motivated you at all. But the only thing I can find is that you really craved the attention and you wanted to get the attention, and you were so invested in issues of social justice, and you knew that this was a sore spot for everybody in this country. You knew this was a country that was slowly trying to heal past injustices and current injustices and trying to make a better future for each other, and it was a hard road. And you took some scabs off some healing wounds and you ripped them apart for one reason. You wanted to make yourself more famous, and for a while it worked. Everybody was talking about you. The lights are on you. You were actually throwing a national pity party for yourself. And why would you do such a thing? Why would you, I understand, you crave the attention so much, but why would you betray something like social justice issues, which you care so much about? And the only thing I could conclude is that and I acknowledge there are wonderful sides to you. There are very giving and charitable and loving sides to you. But you have another side of you that is profoundly arrogant and selfish and narcissistic.
There it was. Okay, Dr. John, there were so many things right there, and just that little clip that I thought were so profound and well said by this court. And you could tell a lot of time was put in, a lot of thought put into what was going to be said openly. When he said throwing a national pity party for yourself, how might that relate to narcissism?
Well, it's about what exactly is the pity party about? Is it about deflecting the attention from the social justice program, from the agenda, and flashing it onto yourself? Because that's going to be the key. If throwing your pity party doesn't necessarily is a negative thing when it comes to narcissism. Narcissists can feel sort of problematic, right? They can feel like something is going wrong against them. They just need to ensure that they rise above it and that everybody understands that the light always has to be on them no matter what is going on.
And with narcissism, it's a topic I find so fascinating. I could literally talk to you all day about it if our producers would let me, but we know we have other stories to get to. But for anybody who might not exactly understand it or how you might see it with folks who find themselves in the criminal justice system, what are some of the important takeaways you could share with us on it, please, Dr. John?
Well, the first thing is understanding that narcissism in and of itself is not a bad thing. It's depending on how you apply the narcissism. If individuals who run businesses, who do acting or in arts of any kind, they generally have narcissism, and that's not a bad thing. The bad thing is, how do you interact with individuals? Are you willing to give back the attention? Are you willing to deflect some problematic things onto other things, or do you take things so hard? Do you believe everything is about you and everything needs to be centered on you? If you believe that the world is spinning around you, then we're starting to get into some problematic areas.
Gotcha. Dr. John Delatorre, always great to talk with you. We'll stand by and see if we get more information on this, and perhaps we'll see if we get a confirmation or a denial from the Cook County Jail as to what the Smollett family is saying. They're claiming he's in this psych ward, but we'll see if we get anything official on that. Thank you so much for your insight.